In recognition of Multiple Sclerosis Month, we want to share the special story of an entrepreneur who's making great strides and contributions while battling MS herself. Stephanie Abrams hosted a very successful fundraising event recently, and the proceeds went to the MS Society. Stephanie was diagnosed with MS in 2011 and continues to grow her social media agency, which I'm sure she'll tell us about in just a moment. Stephanie, welcome to Arise America. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So in the spirit of raising awareness of MS, let's just start with the bare bones basics. What is multiple sclerosis?
Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease that affects the central nervous system, and it really affects each person in a different way depending on what type of MS they have and what their symptoms are.
You know, it was my image, my perception that the typical MS patient was a woman, typically a woman, older than you, a middle-aged woman.
Yes.
Are you the typical patient?
Well, people are becoming diagnosed with MS younger and younger these days, specifically because there's the ability to diagnose MS through having MRIs, but I've heard stories, I've met so many people now in their 20s who have been diagnosed. I was diagnosed at 27.
Yeah, so take me back to just before you received the diagnosis. What was going on with you that made you think something might be wrong?
Sure, so it was the summer of 2011, and I was having a lot of pain in my neck and down my back, and I actually thought that I had a pinched nerve, so I let it go on for a while, thinking that it was probably just nothing, and then I woke up one morning and I couldn't move my neck at all. It was completely stiff, so I called the doctor. They took me in right away, and they also thought I had a pinched nerve, but wanted to send me for an MRI just to be sure that's what it was. Went for an MRI the next day and got a call from the doctor, and they said, you know, we think we see something that doesn't look right. They said in the report that they thought it could be MS or a couple of other things that seemed a lot worse. So they sent me back for another MRI with contrast, and then they knew right away. I got a call that day that we think it's probably MS, and then went to see a neurologist, and that's how it all started.
And when that diagnosis was confirmed, what goes through your head? What was that like?
It was completely out of nowhere and unexpected. I had no idea what MS was, so I did the one thing you probably shouldn't do when you get diagnosed with something, is I went to the internet, I went to Google, WebMD.
The Wild West of information.
Those are the things that you don't want to do. So I was completely freaked out, and it took me, I would say, about a week to really come to terms with it, and then just completely change my attitude and say, okay, this is what it is. This is my diagnosis. It's going to be part of my life. What can I do to move forward and, have a positive attitude and do the best that I can do each day? So from that moment on, I've done the best that I can do each day and have tried to raise awareness and raise funds for the MS Society and the doctor's practice that I go to. So that's all you can do.
I mean, you really just jumped in with both feet, and you raised, what, $10,000?
Yeah, so one of the fundraisers we raised over $10,000 this past year for an event called M Squared that we do every year, and we've raised more money than that. So that was just one event that we did that for.
Why was that important to you? I mean, many people who received a diagnosis, and just to be clear, this is a chronic disease for which there is no cure.
Correct.
That really could send them to bed.
Oh, yes.
Or to the Dunkin' Donuts, to feel sorry for themselves. But you got in there and you wanted to fight and give back.
Absolutely.
Why is that so important to you?
That's just the kind of person that I am. I'm someone who, if something bad happens, I try to make the most out of it and find a reason why it happened. I've looked at my diagnosis really as a blessing. I could have not been diagnosed. Some people, it takes years to get diagnosed with MS because some of the symptoms are invisible, and you could go to a doctor and they don't understand what's wrong unless you end up going to a neurologist. So I feel blessed that I was actually diagnosed and they know what's wrong, and I'm able to, get treatment going forward, and there's an answer for it. So you just have to do the best that you can do each day and move forward, and that's how I've tried to live my life.
I know that MS is different for almost every individual, and so therefore so are the therapies and the treatments. But give us an idea of how you manage your MS on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. So for me, I've tried the best that I can do with diet and exercise. I've gone on several medications, and I'm not on any medication right now due to side effects, but medications do work for so many people. So for me, the biggest thing has been exercise. So I work out with an amazing trainer here in the city. His name is Kelvin Gary, so
really?
highly recommend him. Oh yeah, so he gets me going and working out, and it definitely helps.
Is that just about keeping you stronger and healthier?
So it's extremely important to be able to keep your body moving and stay active, and to keep your muscles going. So exercise is extremely important, and most doctors always say diet and exercise is always important. It's important for anyone.
It is important for anyone. We all should do it. One of the things that you mentioned at the very beginning of this this conversation is that now science can diagnose this much earlier.
Yes.
Can you talk, I know you're not a doctor,
Yes.
but I also know that you're a researcher. You,
Yes.
you do your homework. Where are the hopeful possibilities in treatments, therapeutics for
Sure.
MS, and maybe even a possible cure?
Sure. So I can say again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving medical advice, but I can tell you there's new medications that are coming out every single year. There's oral drugs that have come out in the past year that I know have worked for a lot of people. I know there's a lot of stem cell research going on right now. So one of the reasons it's so important to raise funds for research for MS is because there can be a cure for MS, and I really do believe that, and they're doing a lot of research. I know at NIH and at Hopkins and at the Tisch MS Research Center, which is where I go here in New York. So there's definitely great possibilities that are coming up, and hopefully there'll be a cure one day.
Well, you are a glowing example that there is life after an MS diagnosis. Kudos to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we wish you all great things.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So nice to meet you.
You too.